Every day, Jacob Singer goes to work.
What's wrong?
It's one of those days.
And every day, he wonders what is happening to him.
Maybe it's the pressure, Jake.
They're like demons, Jess. They weren't human.
What were they, Jake? Let me look at your hand. You have a very strange line. See, according to this, you're already dead.
Something's wrong, Jake. They're coming after me. I don't know who they are or what they are, but they're gonna get me, and I'm scared, Jake. I've seen them too.
Maybe the demons are real.
He's running 106 feet with...
This is barbaric.
I can get rid of the demons.
Who are you?
I can block the ladder.
Where are you taking me? Where am I?
Where do you want to go?
Home.
This is your home. You're dead.
I'm not dead.
What are you then?
I'm alive.
Jacob's Ladder is a 1990s horror psychological thriller from director Adrian Lyne, starring Tim Robbins as Jacob Singer, a Vietnam soldier who begins to experience hallucinations, encounters bizarre, nightmarish events. The film opens in Vietnam with Jacob and his unit seemingly in the jungle. They come under attack. Many of the people in his platoon end up either dead, wounded, or start going catatonic and insane. Jacob himself is also injured and stabbed by a bayonet. The film then cuts to some time later. Jacob wakes up on a subway train in New York City and begins to experience his first strange encounter. He sees what appears to be a homeless woman with tentacles between her legs. Freaked out by this, he gets off the next stop. Only the exit seems to be barred and so he cannot escape. He then decides to cross over to the other platform where he almost gets hit by a train full of what seem to be faceless demons. Jacob eventually returns home to his girlfriend's house, and it turns out that Jacob is now a postal clerk, and it is now the year 1975, so a few years after his time in the war. Although Jacob still fantasizes about his old life with his ex-wife and children, especially his youngest son Gabe, who died before he went to the war. Some time passes and Jacob and his new girlfriend attend a party held by one of their close friends. The party happens to have a psychic who is reading everyone's palms. When she gets to Jacob, she reveals that he is dead, and he of course naturally laughs this off as some kind of bad joke, before he begins to start hallucinating strange, more tentacle creatures all around him, which then leads him to collapse. While unconscious, he begins to have flashbacks of his time in the Vietnam War and him being rescued and taken away by some American soldiers. He also dreams of his family again, once more reunited. Although moments later he wakes up and is back with his girlfriend again. The next day then, Jacob decides to meet up with some of his old Vietnam platoon veteran friends, and they end up talking about their life since they've returned back to New York. And it turns out that not only Jacob, but other members of his platoon have also started suffering from hallucinations and seeing strange creatures. They then come to the conclusion that they must have all been exposed to some kind of American experimental chemical while they were over there. They decide to tell the press, but the very next day, all of them apart from Jacob back out, seemingly threatened or intimidated by some unknown government presence. Jacob, undeterred, remains vigilant and ends up going to the press office. However, on his way there, he is kidnapped by two men in black suits, who begin to threaten and intimidate Jacob, before dumping him on the side of the road, seemingly leaving him almost paralyzed. Jacob then is taken to a hospital where he sees more and more nightmarish hallucinations on his way through the hospital corridors. Sometime later in the hospital then, Jacob is seemingly saved by his chiropractor friend, Louis, who recounts to him a poem from the 14th century by a famous Christian mystic. This relaxes Jacob, who slowly begins to understand what's happening around him. Jacob returns home and meets a Mr. Michael Newman, who's waiting for him at his house. Michael reveals that he was exposed to a nerve agent called the ladder, which is designed to turn soldiers against each other. Through another flashback, it is revealed that Jacob was stabbed by an American soldier, not a Vietnamese soldier, during his time in the war. Also at this moment, Jacob sees his son, Gabe, once more, who he takes by the hand. Finally coming to peace with his past and understanding what's happening, Jacob and his son walk up the ladder towards a white light. The cinematography in the film is quite interesting throughout, cutting back between the modern day, his time in Vietnam, hallucinations, flashbacks. All of these things are done practically on camera, and it is quite an achievement to watch. The effects are creepy in places, and the faceless creatures that vibrate are very unsettling to watch. The set design is also quite unique, as it transitions from quite a normal setting to a more nightmarish and bleak setting, seemingly in the same shot, especially the sequence at the hospital where he goes through each corridor and gets more and more nightmarish for each single door he goes through. The creature effects are quite creepy and scary throughout the film, and the horror is very psychological as opposed to bloody and gory. The acting is very good throughout, especially Tim Robbins' performance as Jacob. You really feel the emotional weight behind the character. He really makes you feel for the character of Jacob, and you can understand the PTSD that the character is suffering, as well as the mental trauma and guilt that he has from his broken relationship with his family. Overall, Jacob's Ladder is a very unique little horror film that is definitely worth your time. I'm probably going to rate it an 8 out of 10 because it inspired many other horror movies and video games as well, such as the Silent Hill franchise was heavily inspired by this movie. Thank you for watching and have a good day.